Hi, it's Cheryl for Caribou Country Lifestyle. So today I am making a beef stew, and it's actually an oven beef stew. The whole purpose of the video is I'm actually making gluten and dairy-free biscuits. They're Italian cheese biscuits. And I make those because my middle son, Austin, he has autism, and we had him tested probably about 15 years ago for food sensitivities. And we found out that he is sensitive to, of course, gluten, which is your wheats. And he's also sensitive to dairy as well. So I do a lot of gluten and dairy-free cooking. And I have been doing that for well over 15 years now. So with the stew, I want to make these biscuits, and this is an oven stew, so I'm just kind of doing a quick run through of what I do for the stew as well, and I just thought I'd bring you along for that. So what I have here is, it's 2.5 pounds of stew meat. Now this is a moose stew meat from the moose that my husband shot while he was hunting. And I am adding, I've already chopped up all the vegetables. So I'm adding celery. It's 2 stalks of celery chopped up. I have 5 potatoes. It said to quarter them. And but I cut them into 8s because I don't like big chunks of potatoes. Nothing worse than getting a big chunk of potato in your mouth and it's super hot and it's like burning your mouth. And I've burnt the roof of my mouth. I have 2 onions chopped up and 5 carrots chopped up. Just put the last of the carrots and the onions in. And I've got that all in my cast iron roaster. And then I have a mixture, and what I've done in this mixture is it's a large can of diced tomatoes, so it's 796 ml can of diced tomatoes. There's 3 tablespoons of minute tapioca. Now this is a gluten-free minute tapioca, so I have 3 tablespoons of that. I also have 2 teaspoons of a beef bouillon, just a dry beef bouillon, and I have a teaspoon of salt. There's half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and I just use the Lea & Perrins. That's one that was on the list of gluten-free choices for Worcestershire sauce. I have a half a teaspoon of lemon juice in there, and I have a half a teaspoon of pepper, and I put in a teaspoon of sugar, and that's all in this. And then you mix it in the bowl. You pour that over your meat and your vegetables. There. I'm also going to add some garlic. It doesn't say to add garlic, but I really like garlic. And I've made it a couple of times already, and I just think that the garlic would add to the already great flavor that the stew has. So I'm just putting in 2 cloves of garlic and adding that in. That's just my own preference to have garlic in there. I love garlic. So I've got that is pressed in there with my garlic press. And then I just have to pour this over, and then I'm just gonna kind of mix that garlic in a little bit. I should have actually added it to the tomato mixture. So I'm going to I poured that over. And I have my oven is preheated to 300 degrees. And I've just poured that over, then it just says to cover. I have my oven already heated up. And I will bring this over here. So it's a 300 oven. And I'm setting it for, this goes in the oven for 4 hours. So that's set, and it's like 25 after 2 in the afternoon, so it'll be ready by 6:30. So moving on from my stew that I have in the oven, and it will cook for 4 hours, I'm going to make some gluten-free, dairy-free biscuits. These are an Italian cheese biscuits. I use Biscuits. It's a gluten-free Biscuit mix. My son actually makes waffles with this. He makes pancakes. Every Saturday he makes waffles for us, or he'll change it up and he'll make pancakes. So there's a recipe on the back that is also for to make biscuits. And I was following another recipe, and that's what I do when I'm making gluten and dairy-free recipes. I'm just taking other recipes and I'm changing it up. If it wants flour, I put in brown rice flour. He makes his own bread that he has every morning for breakfast, and it is actually an applesauce, raisin, cinnamon bread. There is no yeast in it. There's no gluten, no dairy in it, and it has the consistency of more like a banana bread. And once it's cool, he slices it up, he puts it in a freezer bag, and he puts that bread in the freezer, and then he just pops out 2 slices every morning, toasts it up, and puts peanut butter and jam on it, and he absolutely loves it. So I started using the Biscuit mix, and I started making these Italian cheese biscuits, and they actually turned out really good. Another couple of ingredients besides the biscuit mix that I use for my dairy-free cheese, I use Daiya cheese, and it's already shredded, so it's dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free, and that's another ingredient that I use in my biscuits. And then also it calls for a type of a shortening. I use an Earth Balance. It's a vegan product, and they come in, there's 4 half-cup sticks in here, and I get this from, there's some grocery stores that carry it, but I get it from a health food store, and I picked that up as well. The reason my son is on gluten and dairy free is because he has sensitivities to gluten, wheat, dairy, and you'll find some soy cheeses. I was purchasing a soy cheese before, but there is still a product that's in it called casein, and that's one of the dairy-free, I guess, ingredients in it that he has a sensitivity to. So then we started getting this, and this works out well for him. I mean, this cheese, it serves its purpose. But if you are not somebody that has to worry about a dairy-free product, then I would just use regular cheese. So, and then I use just a regular Italian seasoning to put in there too. So let's get started. For this recipe, you need 2 cups of the Biscuit mix. And 1/3 of the shortening, and I'm using the butter. I've already pre-cut it. I was telling you that they are in 1/2 cup blocks. I'll just open this and show you. It almost looks like your regular butter, but it's just a little smaller, and it has the measurements on here by the tablespoons. This is a 1/2 cup block, and I just took 1/3 of a cup. And then I'm going to take my fork, and I did let this butter out on the, I had it come to room temperature so it would be easier to work with. And I'm just going to cut this in to the Biscuit mix just until it forms little small pea-like consistency. I know some people ask, you know, how hard that is to be making gluten and dairy free all the time. We've been doing it for so long, we have a pretty good idea of what's available, and I don't read the labels as much now because I know the products that we need to use. When I first started, oh my gosh, I would be in the grocery store for hours. I had my lists, and just looking everything up was just, it took a long time. Now I know what to look for, and I still look at new products and see what their ingredients are to see if it's something that he would be able to have. So I think we almost got this. Oh yeah, and I need some eggs too. Okay, so I've got my 2 cups of mix, 1/3 of a cup of my Earthbound Balance vegan butter. Now I'm going to put in 2/3 of a cup of milk, and again, because we're dairy free, I use just the oat milk. And it is, I buy the one that's unsweetened, so it has 0 sugar in it. So 2/3 of a cup of milk. And my 3 eggs. And these are the eggs that we have fresh from our farm. We have 32 laying hens on our property. We just got new laying hens. We got, oh, how many is there? There's 20, yeah, no, 18 of the black Australorps and the buff Orpingtons. And they're just starting to lay eggs. So these eggs are a little bit on the small side right now, but it's nice to have fresh eggs all the time. I'm just gonna we keep our eggshells and let them dry out. And then we'll crush them up and put them in our compost. Sometimes we feed them back to our chickens. And what that does is it helps with the eggshell, makes it a harder shell. We've had sometimes where the shell has been really, really thin and it just breaks so easy. So I'm going to put in a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning, and then I am going to put in, I don't really measure it, I'll just show you here, get a little closer so you can see. So it's already pre-shredded, and it's kind of a little bit on the greasy side when you're touching it. It just seems to be a little bit greasy. So I just add some shredded up cheese in here. That's probably about a cup thereabouts. I'm just gonna wipe my hands. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about it. It does have kind of a greasy feel to it. And my son has gotten used to it. And I mean, when you can't have cheese and you can't have milk and you can't, you know, you get so limited, you kind of adapt to what is available. And I remember we used to buy turkey bacon, and my husband used to say, well, it's fine if you're not expecting it to taste like bacon. The cheese, we use it in a lot of recipes. I use it in lasagnas, I use it in casseroles, I use it in tortilla casseroles, like chicken tortilla casseroles. And you know, if you're expecting it to taste like your regular cheese, well, then you're going to be a little disappointed. But if you go into it with an open mind, like, well, I can't have cheese, so, you know, how is it? And it actually is quite good. So now I have my pan ready. And I just take a couple of spoons, because you just have to spoon this out. There is no rolling it and then having to cut it. I just spoon it out, use the other spoon, push it off onto the, I've got parchment paper. It was saying to put it on an ungreased baking sheet. So I just put parchment paper on it. And we like them to be a pretty good size, so to have with the stew. And as far as, like, it's a little bit hard to cut them in half when they're cooked and putting a little bit of butter on them. But we actually managed to be able to do it. There. I'm going to move this around a little bit. I've got more. I got probably 2 more I can get in here. So like I say, the whole reason mostly for this video was the dairy-free and gluten-free biscuits. You have your oven at a 400 oven, which, oh my gosh, I forgot to set my oven. Okay, so I have my oven preheating, and I'll get this last one on here. Okay, so there we have it, our Italian cheese biscuits. Once they're baked, I will show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. So once my oven is heated up to a 400 oven, then I'm going to bake these for about 15 minutes, thereabouts. You want them so that they're a little bit, you know, golden brown on the top. So I just took my biscuits out of the oven and yeah, they look pretty good. I made them now, but we're not going to be eating them until my dinner's ready. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to make those biscuits and for them to be gluten and dairy free. And I mean, there's only one person in our family that needs gluten and dairy free, but I don't cook a bunch of different things for my family. I'm not going to make 2 separate meals. So whenever I make anything, something like this, and I've made these biscuits before, and my husband, he liked them, and I had a friend over for dinner and she really enjoyed them too. So in my books, they're a hit. So I hope if you know of anybody that is gluten and dairy free, if you're interested in me doing more videos like this, I would love to. Just in the winter months, I don't really have a lot of videos going on, don't have my garden, so it's really hard to share a lot of garden knowledge in the winter time. I mean, I'm always thinking about gardens, but at this point in time, I'm doing, I'm always cooking gluten and dairy-free things. I'm going to be starting to do my Christmas baking. I will be making some gluten and dairy-free molasses crinkles. It's just like a soft molasses cookie. So if you're interested in something like that, I would definitely do a video about that too. They're really good. Everybody likes them, and my son, he absolutely loves them. They're his favorite cookie. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, throw in a like. Anyways, have a great day. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.